is the moment I wake up, my mind, my sense organs continues to project. No doubt it is a projection. So the first thing to understand that the world is a projection of our real self. Now, this world includes me, my body, my mind, my intellect, my ego also. Be aware, be very clear. That I thought is also included in the world of projection. I thought, when I say I thought, not that thoughtless I. Thoughtless I is my real nature. But I thought, which is asking a question, is also a projection. Put a canvas. Think of a canvas where the person is there looking at his house near the sea beach with a lot of coconut trees, and too far the sea beach, people are walking. Now, what happens? I thought separates from the canvas, but I is also present in the canvas. And what is a canvas? On which the world is projected. What is that canvas? It is the mind. It is the mind. Based on that, now we should include one more principle which says that we are pure consciousness that is present in waking state, in dream state, and in sleep state. I thought works actively. It works, it thinks, it speaks in the waking state. Why? All the four functions of the mind are active. What are the four functions? The mind and the memory, the intellect and the I thought. Then go into the dream state, in which the body is not working. So it is the mind in imagination is active. But behind that, there is a pure consciousness. In sleep state, I thought goes away, all the four functions of the mind goes away. What is left? How do I know? I know only through the mind. So mind is not there. So I don't know about the sleep. But there is someone who knows about the deep sleep that I come to know in a waking state. That is why I say I had a sound sleep. I slept very well. So I get the information about the deep sleep. What is the deep sleep? Absence of experience, because there is no object. So absence of experience and presence of experience are both the projections. I am pure consciousness. I am pure consciousness. So once we have a clarity, understanding, then We practice and we want to feel it. There are two elements. Seeing means seeking, and searching means practice. Seeking means clarity of understanding, and conviction. Yes, there is something pure consciousness. And that is what I want to feel all the time. Now, having understood this, I live in the so called world. I thought, body, mind, intellect. And the world is the projection of the self. So, what happens? Projection will remain there. The sky projection of the blueness will always remain there. But we should have a right knowledge that the sky is not blue. Even if I understand water is not in a mirage, still I experience the next time I see the desert from too far, I see the water. But now I know water is a projection, there is no water. That much is required. So when I know the entire world is a projection, so let me play and have fun in the world. So when you ask a question, how to stop this projection, that makes people depressed. How can you change the rule of the world? You want to go beyond the world? No. Who wants to go beyond the world? The I thought, which is itself a projection, which is itself a person in the canvas looking at his house. But it is in the canvas, both the person and the house. Both are projection. So, how can we get rid of one projection from the other projection? That is the blunder. Many people do it. In other way, what they expect? They expect that all the thoughts from the mind must go away. When it goes away, the mind also goes away. So when the mind goes away, then where I have to remove ignorance? Ignorance is present in the mind. So I have to remove ignorance in the mind. I have to put knowledge and wisdom in the mind through understanding the principle of Eastern wisdom and experiencing by practice. Now take one simple example. Are you listening to me? Yes. At the same time, are you experiencing a state of calmness? Yes, I feel that calmness now. Even 1% of the calmness. I'm not saying 100%, maybe 5% of the calmness. I feel it, and I did not create it. I feel it, I did not create it. Now, what is the challenge? Once I understand this and I experience that 5% calmness, what is the challenge? I have to see that there is unbroken continuity of this calmness is there. Why? I did not create it. I feel calm. That calmness comes from the pure consciousness, the higher consciousness. It is manifesting in the mind. Now, who is preventing that calmness? It is, that is why we say it is the desire. What is desire? Desire is a thought. What is a thought? Thought is equal to object plus I am. Where the objects are present, they are present in the world. So my mind picks up an object, identifies with it as I am, and creates a thought. So we say three types of desires are known as Kam, Earth, Dharma. These three kinds of desires works in the world of projection. So once I clearly understand, so let me have the fourth desire. Desire for moksha, desire for freedom. But why should I have a desire for freedom? The primal seed of my true nature, the primal seed of the real self, is the desire to manifest itself, to express itself. So that very desire comes from the real self, but that desire is not for the wealth, not for the power, not for the pleasure, not for the possession. Primal seed of the real self, primal desire, or you can say the seed of the desire is created by that self. Why? To manifest itself, to express itself in the world of many as one. But when it passes through the mind, and the mind has millions of years of habit to find happiness outside. So that creates the thought that prevents the continuity of that calmness. Why? My in meditation I have my mind, my eyes are closed, and I see what I see. I see the calmness within. Suddenly a thought comes, superimposes, creates a veil before that calmness, and because of the habit of the mind for millions of years from the previous birth, why I say millions of years, understand that also. My mind has a habit of moving outside, projecting happiness on the objects from where it has come from my parents, from where my parents have those projections from his parents and continue for thousands of years. And ultimately, before the human race evolved, from where the projection comes, science says we were animals. From which animals it came? Poor instinct, the need for the safety, security, sex, sleep, food. Now look at it. Look at it. If we are tired, we sleep and we damn care what is happening outside. Because we understand we are sleeping in a house, well protected, doors are closed, no worries. But that does not happen to a dog. A slight noise, safety. Even if the master of the dog walks around in the midnight, the dog is there. What are you doing? Everything is all right or not? So those impressions are carried forward in the human being, and we accepted them as it is. There we started the projection in the world outside. So now go back again. I am starting meditation. My eyes are closed means what? I'm asking the mind, I'm asking these sense organs not to pay attention to the thoughts and the feeling and the images and the objects of the world outside. Why? The moment your mind identifies with the object, there will be a thought. And that is preventing the calmness. Calmness is already there. Now, see the other side of the journey. If I'm able to maintain that state of calmness without any break, then what happens? Then what happens? Continuity is maintained. So the mind realizes that calmness is within me. So that realization and the state of calmness and the peace is not affected, disturbed, even when the mind is projecting the world. So I discover that calmness is independent, free from any projection. My knowledge that the sky is not blue, once I know it, it cannot be overlapped, destroyed at any cost, at any time. So once the knowledge is realized, it cannot be reversed. So that is why we say the meditation helps us to reveal the knowledge of the reality. One more point. So we should have a desire for moksha. We should have a desire for freedom. Means what? With understanding. That desire for freedom with understanding naturally gathers the mind within. It should naturally move the mind with. Now I'm not interested in any kind of projection. I have understood thought is equal to object plus I am. I identify with an object. That is why I have a thought. Now I realize my name is Taurus or my name is X. Every day I wake up in the morning. Do I start thinking who the hell I am? What is my name? No, I know it. Knowledge realized that this guy, this human frame, is known by the name X, known by the name David, known by the name Girish. Mind doesn't, neither the mind disturbs you, nor the mind is disturbed. Nor the mind is disturbed. You go to comma, you forget your name. You return from the comma, you recall your name. If your name is David before the comma, you don't say, my name is DeFrasco. You know it. So that knowledge is already realized. So every meditation helps us to realize that knowledge. That knowledge. So what disturbs? Three kinds of desires. Desire for pleasure, desire for satisfaction, Desire for what we say, I say it pleasure happiness, I say it satisfaction happiness, I say it is a value happiness. So once all three desires, projecting happiness outside in the world, drops or is kept in abeyance. In English, we use the word it is kept in abeyance. Abeyance means it is kept at one side. You are there, what you are having it, okay, mine, we understand. We know you. Continue to project, no worries. But only don't overlap that calmness which I am experiencing at this moment, is what the meditation is. Whether it is calmness, whether it is awareness, whether you say it is peace, some people say it is silence, some people say it is quietness. Let anything be there. Don't give a name, because the moment you give a name, it is a thought. So that is why we have given hundreds of names. Now see that what mm, our masters, when they started this journey, they went to the forest and they wrote a lot of text in the forest. They are known as Aranyaka text. Aranyaka means forest, and that is the third stage of life. We are working on sadhana panchakam. I'm laying a foundation so that we should learn all the 40 steps, how to live my personal, professional, social life. Projection is there. I add another projection, you know, projection, one projection, second projection, I get the things done and finished. Where is the problem? I see there is a projection. Let me work through the projection. Let me act through the projection. Let me think through the projection. But clarity is there. There is a right knowledge. There is a I know what is right and good. Based on that, you see that I'm including all the principle of Shreyas. What is right and good? Now I have to think, I have thought it, I have to go to the office and talk to my employees. But then I remember there is another step in 40 steps, it comes. Uh, what do you think? Is your thinking polluted, colored by the fruits of an action? Oh, then action will cause ignorance. Is your action caused by ego in the mind? Then it will destroy the whole purpose of sadhana. So it means I should remove that ego part. I should remove fruits of that action. Let me act. What is action? Projection. Where to act in the world? World is also a projection. So let me work, play. That is why it becomes a play and fun. And once it becomes a play and fun, you continue to experience that state of calmness and peace within you. You realize that pure consciousness is independent, free from all the projections, including my body, breath, brain, mind, intellect, ego, my house, my wife, my kids, my parents, anything and everything in the world. So I started by pointing you the Aranyaka. And from Aranyaka came the many masters wrote the Upanishad. So when they saw when they were in the forest and contemplating, they started looking for the waking state. They started looking for the dream state. They started looking for the sleep state. And they were surprised that that they could remember the sleep state even when the mind is not there. The world is not there. So then they continued searching and they realized that consciousness is present in the waking state, that consciousness is present in the dream state, and also in the sleep state. So one master writes, look at look at your life. The life is a series of desires. One. Second, that desire is a thought. Two, thought is nothing but object plus in. Now that thought says this is a waking state in which I know the entire projected world. This is the dream state, I know half of the projected world. And in sleep state, I don't know anything. Who is this I? This I is in the mind. It is the mind that says, I don't know. So, next question comes. Well, if the mind says, I know and I don't know, is this me or I'm different from the mind? So, the answer naturally comes, I'm different from the mind. In deep sleep, my mind says, you do not exist. Then, if you do not exist, how you return to a waking state? The sleep state says, waking state and dream state do not exist. Then how do you return to these two states? So it means there is something within us who knows all the three states. And the funny part, the most funny part, my friend, is that we have been living with a series of desires, with the waking, sleep, and the dream state, days after days, weeks after weeks, months after months, years after years, without knowing who am I. So then they said, waking, dream, and the sleep are the three states of the mind. And they named the consciousness as a fourth state. They did not name it because if you name it, then you have to explain it becomes a thought. So that name is known as Turiya. Turiya has no meaning except it means fourth. It means the fourth state of consciousness. It is the state of consciousness, or it is consciousness. Sometime when you explain sleep, dream, and uh, sleep, dream, and the waking, then we say here are the three states. So, what is the fourth state known as? It means that it will also be a projected state? No. So, that is why they said there is no name, but we have to address it. So, they said it is a fourth state which is known as Turiya. Now understand every other part of it. Now the world is being projected. I understand clearly that calmness is there without my practice. I am aware of it. I feel the calmness, but it is constantly projected or destroyed by the desires, thoughts, feelings of the past in the mind. But if it is not destroyed or covered by the desires of the mind, then I can live in the meditative state here and now. Here and now. Because when I look myself into the mirror, that is a projected image. But you never When there is something here on your right eyebrow, then you don't remove that thing in the image. You know where you are. You know where you are. Huh? Yeah, you have beard and you want to shave. You don't shave the image. You know it. It is very clear. So you do it here and you are looking into the image. Is it not a big play and a fun? That you are shaving, but still you confirm through the projection. You confirm through the projection that now there is no hair on my cheek. I have shaved. So now see, this projection also helps you. This projection is also helps you. Are you getting it? So in a way, why should I get rid of the projection? This is the word. If I want to get rid of the projection, it means I want to change the very word, the way it exists. How to destroy that projection? Waves are the projection of the water. Answer yourself how to remove that projection which causes the suffering. Do nothing. Just recognize wave is also a water. Without water, the wave cannot exist. Then you can play and have a fun in the world all the time. One wave is husband, other wave is wife, third wave is daughter, fourth wave is parent, fifth wave is your business. So why to destroy that? If I destroy all the projections, I am going to destroy myself. I'm going to destroy myself. That very projection is nothing but the manifestation of my true nature. But that will come at a later stage. First thing, destroying, and take the positive meaning of destroying, move the mind deeper inside, remove go beyond all the projections, absorb yourself into a deeper meditative state. So, when you absorb yourself into a deeper meditative state, that is nothing but a continuity of that state of calmness or peace or whatever you say, or quietness or silence. Many people explain differently. Now, there is a continuity because that continuity makes me realize that all is projection. Now, that projection does not disturb me at all. But in the sadhana, that is what we are going to learn in 40 step, that sadhana. During the sadhana, I see these projections, these thoughts, and the feelings and the images coming from the past are the problems. So that is why our master says, purify the mind. So, why we purify the mind? Understand, today we are picking up very deeper understanding. So, from where the impurity comes? From the desires, from the projection. And who is the servant of the mind? Prana is the servant of the mind. The body is the servant of the mind through which the desires are realized. So, first pick up the prana. Do you remember when I said desire is the impurity of prana in the mind? Now see how clarity we have in our principles. Prana is, no, desire is the impurity of prana in the mind. So impurity is there in the mind caused by the disturbances in the prana. But how the prana is disturbed? By the desire and the projection of the mind seeking happiness outside. When this prana is directed by the desire in the mind for freedom, for permanent peace within, where the prana has to go? Prana will be inside. You see that? Then the prana will start rising up. Otherwise, the prana goes down. What is the movement of the prana goes down? It is scattered with millions of thoughts in the mind. It is so mind is scattered outside with many thoughts, as as many movement of the prana. So when the prana with the mind is moving outside with millions of the thoughts, we feel our energy is drained, we feel anxiety, we feel stressed. So going back again, that now I see I live into this, I'm experiencing the calmness now, yes. So what I need to do to maintain the continuity, I should remain simply aware. I did not create that calmness now. I maintain that awareness. Now that awareness is shifted because of the desires and the prana included. That is what the impurity is. So, what is the best way to do it? Even Patanjali says. Patanjali says that you do simply breathing. So, that is why I introduce some breathing practices too. So, what happens to the breathing by the breathing practices? The prana is liberated from the mind only for a temporary period. It cannot be done by permanently. Why? If it cannot be done permanently, and how it can be done permanently by the prana? Then continue breathing quick and fast or certain pranayama 24 by 7, which is not possible. So it means the mind from the background says, okay, you want me to be in peace? So it makes the prana practice habitual and you lose the practice. So the prana mind plays a very crucial role. It should not become habitual. So now when you do that practice, you experience the kind of maybe a deeper calmness. So deeper calmness is already there. What happened? The mind has gone inside. Mind has gone inside. That is the only thing. That is what Patanjali says. Dharana sucho yogyata manasa. By the practice of pranayama, we get a remarkable focus. And second, he says, tatakshiyate prakasha varnam. It removes the veil of ignorance. That veil comes when I see there is no continuity of calmness. Veil comes from the projection, from the desires, from the thoughts, from the images. And the prana is taken away from those desires and projection now. So both works. But still, when the prana becomes free, the mind, our subconscious mind, or you can say the thought pattern, or the vasana is the past impression, wants to hold that prana. So there are two kinds of past impressions, positive, negative. Positive means that moves the mind inside. Negative means that moves the mind outside. First comes the vasanas that moves the mind outside. So now the prana is free. You are enjoying the state of freedom and the deeper calmness. And those vasanas comes and hijacks the prana, takes the prana down, and you have again feeling of again I must have the pleasure, power, sensation. That happened to you a couple of years ago. I told you, but you said, no, no, I'm more intelligent. So be more intelligent. So it happened. It happened to you. You see, the teacher in our tradition, they wait patiently. They will not object what you are doing. They will not stop you, but they will point you, they will hint you. So you see, go back. That past impression has the negative vasanas, so you feel totally fresh. In that calmness and a freshness, your mind claims that you are thinking rightly. But somewhere deep inside, that vasana is there. So that vasana pulls the prana down. And when it pulls the prana down, the mind returns with its glory. You see, I have told you. There is no happiness inside. Always the happiness is outside. Start the work. This time, see that how you can continue. So to remove that danger, there are two parts of it. First part, I would talk about it. People start Kundalini meditation without understanding. So they do pranayama for half an hour. No doubt their mind becomes clear for a temporary period. But what will happen to the past vasanas? They don't recognize it. So what happens? That vasana pulls the prana down, leads them to the hallucination and imagination, which they consider as beautiful experience. So they fall into a greater ignorance, greater delusion. I told you that many people say, I see Krishna in my meditation. I said, very good. Why you have come to me? To meditate. I said, when you see Krishna, ask Krishna to help you meditate. He is the teacher of all the teachers. So that is purely a hallucination. That is a good hallucination, no doubt, but still it is a hallucination. And the other hallucination, instead of Krishna, you fall back to the hallucinations of sensual pleasures, which people say that no, this is what the ananda is. That is a wrong approach. That's our tradition never speaks of that. So that is one part of understanding. The second part of understanding is that now for temporary period, because of the pranayama, my mind seems to be clear and I see the continuity of the calmness. Very good. Now, in that continuity of calmness, now my next step should be that I should align the prana in the mind and move it upward so that there is a rise of consciousness and the continuity should be maintained. Do you see how I explain that? Maintain awareness of the other side of the mind. Next time we will do the practice based on what I have explained to you. So what happens? Oh, there are hundreds of tools. I say do deep silence, slow breathing, one aspect. Then I say move the mind along with the deep silence, slow breathing. Then I say no, that is not enough. Consciously introduce one mantra. For example, Om Namah Shivaya. Introduction of mantra with the deep silence, slow breathing, with the movement of the mind is not enough. In a higher practice, I should see it. Hey, you are David. So I see. David is a symbol. I see the David. Huh? Here you say Oksana. Yes, I see it. Here you say Shanti. So all the words are symbol representing an image and the meaning behind. So the next time when we practice, so what happens? Om Namah Shivaya. What is Om? Om is a symbol of pure consciousness, fourth state of the consciousness known as Turiya or Satchidananda. So when I say Om, when I say David, it means I am pointing. This word is representing David. So another point of awareness we need to develop when I am chanting the mantra Om Namah Shivaya. So the moment I say Om, my mind is absorbed into the infinite space. Now the second word Namah. Namah is Mangalacharan. Namah is surrender. What is that surrender means? I leave the projected world as it is. How do I do that? What I am, what I have, what I possess belongs to you. Belongs to whom? Belongs to Om, not to me. That is the real understanding. We have to do it with understanding. Om Namah Shivaya. When you have a push button start in your car, you start it, and then you know where the gear is. You allow the gear to be in action. You know gear. Gear is a word, but put into action. Namah, put into action. If I don't put into action, the mind will again move outside. It is crazy. It has millions of years of practice to go outside. So now see the fourth aspect. Mind is absorbed into the infinite consciousness. Namah. So whatever is left, what I am, what I have, what I possess, all are projection. I leave it unto you. Why I leave unto you? All the waves are projection of the same water. I'm not fighting with it. Shiva. So I see the Shiva, image of the Shiva inside, front, back, all around. Why? That Shiva is manifest Om. Om is unmanifest Shiva. So unmanifest Shiva, manifest Om. What is the condition? Namaha. The Namah should be there. So I'm not at all caring about this projection. I 100% know when I'm looking into the mirror that I am in front of the mirror. I'm not in the mirror. That is why I put my hands on the face to clean my face. I don't put my face on the mirror. I don't put my hands on the mirror. That is what we need to do to live in the world. Don't put your I thought, don't put the fruits of an action on the image that you see all around. So then what happens? You have a play and a fun. But that is not. So many people have. So once we do this practice, what happens? Now the prana, the mind, and the intellect are together. They are together. It becomes a very great force. We use that great force to move the mind deeper within. That is why I start with a hammering practice. No, we don't want to leave the mind there and then. Let us drop it deeper and deeper. Now, mind, you are working under me, go deeper with it. Go deep, deep, deep. So when the mind is totally absorbed within, it is not a sleep state, it is not a waking state, it is not a dream state, it is extraordinary awareness, where I experience the choiceless awareness. Intellectually, we may say, I feel the choiceless awareness. or objectless state. We can say that. But now I feel it. Now I experience it. So at that moment, the knowledge of the reality dawns. What is that knowledge of the reality? That pure consciousness is realized in the mind. It removes all the ignorance. Then what do you see? You see the pure consciousness as a water with the waves. They die, they take birth, they become bigger, and then they die. The entire world is a constantly changing world. Change of name and the form and the color is what makes the world inert. First, the world is inert. Second, it is constantly changing. Because it is constantly changing, hence the word is false. And that real self is true. It is eternal. It is ever changing. It is ever changing. So we need not to destroy or disturb the equilibrium of the world appears on one side and that consciousness, real self, appears on the other side. Then the highest journey comes. Where is the highest journey? You have seen many priests and pastors declare that the God is everywhere. Then comes, now I see the world as a manifestation of the same God and the pure consciousness. Now I see that pure consciousness is expressing in the form of one person, second person, the entire world. I constantly realize it is a projection of the same self. When you realize you are projected into the mirror all the time, you never make a mistake. You feel thirsty, you drink water into your mouth. You don't put the water into the image. Why you put water into the image now? Means why you are seeking happiness from others? Because you feel they are real. They are real. How simple it is. Because as long as I feel they are real, but it does not mean real here means everlasting, eternal, never changing reality. Never changing reality. So, because the masters and nobody can explain what is beyond the mind, so we understand through many similes, metaphors, why we understand to make the intellect clear. Now the intellect is clear, it has a clarity, it has an understanding, it is free from doubt. What will happen? That intellect will trigger you. Never leave meditation. You have to now realize it. You have to experience it again and again. So that is happening. That is happening in you. That is what the commitment is, that it was the sincerity is. The intellect takes you back again. You have a moment of ego, you became angry, and the next moment the intellect says, are you crazy? Stop this, withdraw yourself. That is known as the sincerity and a commitment in the journey. We simply understand sincerity and a commitment. Okay, I have understood it. And then again, next moment, that sincerity, understanding is gone. The mind says, you see, you were expecting pleasure. He's not giving you the pleasure. Now is the time to be angry. What is that kind of an understanding? So, great master, one master says it is an inner call. So when the intellect is 100% clear, you get an inner call. you get an inner call. So when you get an inner call, sometime what happens before the ego wants to react, you get a call and the ego drops. Sometime the ego takes an action because of the past impression, and then you realize and take an action. Both way it is right in the beginning. But gradually what happens, that intellect now is constantly looking for that reality to feel, to touch, to see. So that is sincerity, that is commitment, and that makes the journey so beautiful and rewarding.